What's up, y'all? Ron again, and in this video we're going to talk about Sytrus finally. So, I'm going to explain how to use Sytrus and what all these buttons do, but I'm going to start here, and this is called the Modulation Matrix. Because Sytrus is so complicated, I'm going to divide this up and we're going to tackle it in multiple videos. So you'll have to watch all of them to get all the full understanding that will represent how I know how to use it now. So anyway, this is the modulation matrix from 1 to 6, going all the way to out, and from 1 down to F3. And here you have RM. So FM is frequency modulation, RM is ring modulation or amplitude modulation. So you can use both of them at the same time, which is pretty cool, you know. And it's useful because ring modulation can sound very pleasant depending on what you do, and frequency modulation can sound crazy depending on what you do. But the purpose of this video is not to explain those. So what frequency and ring modulation are two different types of modulation. Frequency modulation is when you take one operator and that is an oscillator. So it's producing a sound and it has a generator. And when an oscillator is producing a sound, it's producing a sine wave in this case, like when it defaults. So that means that being that it's not a sine wave, these are not set to default. So if you set it to default, then you'll see operator 1 just has a sine wave. So that sine wave, or whatever wave shape we choose, say you put one of these, you affect these, do something like this. Now it's some crazy looking shape. That is going to either just play by itself or it's able to modulate another waveform. So, setting all of those back. If I wanted operator 1 to modulate operator 2, then I would go to 1 and then turn the 2 knob. So this would mean that this operator, operator 1, is modulating operator 2. Operator 1 and any other operator can modulate themselves. I'm going to mute this so you can see it taking place. I have a parametric EQ here. So you'll see just that little bit of modulation. There was a few upper harmonics, but without it, it's just a sine wave. It's just a sine wave, so it has just one harmonic. That's what a sine wave is. If I start to modulate it, it gains more harmonics and it starts to look more like a saw wave. So that is what you would be using FM synthesis or ring modulation, which is using amplitude, because FM is modulating the frequency, ring modulation is modulating the amplitude at the speed of whatever wave form is right here. So as you go up in pitch, it will also modulate faster, which is pretty cool. But anyhow, so that's what's happening when you do this, when you turn these knobs. So like 1 by 1 could modulate oscillator 6 and so forth. Any of them can be modulated by the others when they're like this. And you can do both ring modulation and frequency modulation. So that's what 1 through 6 do. Going from this way. The ones on the top are, if you remember from the other tutorial, they're the modulator. And these are the carrier, like when you vocoder. Down here, you got F1, F2, and F3. And those are for the filters, which I'm not going to get into, but Sytrus has filters built into it. And you can affect those using the same parameters that you would affect these operators for the most part. If you go here, you have panning control for the different operators. So you could make them sound on like different sides. Like one could be all the way right, all the way left. You have some in the middle, like that. And you can pan the filter outputs too, so that's pretty cool. I never use that, but you can. Here you have effects, and this is a mix knob for this. So it's got chorus and it's got reverb and delays that can be serial or non-serial, like parallel. So there's delays and there's a reverb and a chorus. And you can mix how much of that you want, and it's useful because if you want reverb, you can make it so that the reverb is only applying to higher notes. So you don't have to worry about muddying your bass. And right here you have out. So if all of these are turned neutral like this, then it's not going to play any sound. This is out, and it's like how loud this operator is. So operator 1, out. Operator 2, out. So this is basically the final sound for any operator that you're hearing. And you can blend them together, in the same way you can pan them to different places. You can make it so that some of them are more pronounced, if that's what you want to do. I do this. This is useful for having like tonal balance. If you want a sound to be brighter or deeper, it's very useful. Especially when you add in the filters, because another advantage is that you can make the sound louder by basically duplicating it. So if the sound is quiet, there is no worries there because you could make multiple operators do the same thing. So that's all I'm going to cover in this tutorial. So you can make sounds in Sytrus because obviously you have the keys right here. You can enter notes into Sytrus and make sounds and mess around with it and see what you come up with. And I hope that this video helped you, and that's all I got for this video. In the next one in this series that are tutorials of Sytrus, I'll cover this area. Then perhaps the main one, and then maybe getting in depth. But with that being said, that brings this video to a close. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And like, comment, share, subscribe. Let other people know about it if it helped you. And with that being said, have an awesome day. Peace.